Why am I here? What gives me the right to speak at this conference? How can they think that I'm able to do this? Sure, I got lucky when I presented my topic initially, but they must know that I'm a fake, right? Maybe I should just give up before anyone figures out that I'm a fraud. Or even better, maybe I should dedicate the rest of my life to becoming the best speaker in the world so that no one will ever know that I have no idea what I'm doing. Have you ever found yourself thinking like this? If so, you might be one of the many people who have imposter syndrome. But let's run a simple test. If a question applies to you, raise your hand. You sometimes feel like your success is based on luck, on being at the right place at the right time, or because you knew the right people. So you tend to consider it an error. Does it apply to you? You feel like you give the impression that you're smarter than you really are, and you're scared that people will find out. Does it sound familiar? You often worry about failing, and you get discouraged if you're not the best. And finally, if you receive recognition of some kind, you hesitate to tell others until it's an accomplished fact. If you raise your hands for most of these questions, well, you might have imposter syndrome. According to the developers of the imposter phenomenon theory, the term imposter syndrome is used to designate an internal feeling of intellectual phoniness, found mostly in highly achieving people. Despite outstanding academic and professional achievements, people with imposter syndrome persist in believing that they're really not bright and have fooled anyone who thinks otherwise. Numerous achievements do not affect the imposter belief, as they're dismissed as luck, timing, or because they knew the right people. So, in short, now, if you didn't raise your hands, you might think that all of us who did are crazy. What reason would we have to believe that our success isn't enough to prove our worth? I used to think this way too, but then something happened. I received a scholarship to come to this school. Everyone who knew was just bursting with excitement. I came to school with my parents to sign the contract, and everything was fine. But then came the summer, the longest summer of my life. I waited every day for the phone to ring, waiting for someone to call me and tell me that this was all a huge mistake, that I wasn't really the person they were looking for. Despite what I was told throughout the admission process, I could not understand why anyone would pick me of all people. And I still don't. To this day, when somebody says, "Oh, you're a scholarship student, you must be so smart," I respond with, "Nope, I'm just good at pretending." Somehow, the more success I get, the more I feel the need to undermine it. And the more I feel the need to avoid sharing it, believing it was just a fluke. Sounds ironic, doesn't it? Success creates fear of success, and the more successful you are, the more likely you are to feel like your success isn't enough. But don't worry, you're not alone. It is estimated that around 70% of all people will feel like imposters at some point or another in their lives. Many famous people, such as Tom Hanks, John Green, Emma Watson, and Neil Gaiman, have reported feeling like imposters. So, if it's so common, where does it come from? What are the common things that make all of us feel like imposters? One cause is parents. They have our best interest at heart, but sometimes they can put unnecessary pressure on their children. Being told while you're growing up that, "Oh, you're so smart and you can achieve so much, you're just not living up to your potential," or that you only failed because you didn't work hard enough, might be phrases that parents use to encourage their children, but they create fear of failure, which is one cause for imposter syndrome. Another cause, as you might expect, is school. The fact that one mistake can cause you to get a lower grade, which will then lower your entire GPA, causing you to not get into college, not get a job, and fail in life, is something that many of us experience daily. And it creates fear of responsibilities, as many students choose to take an easier class just so they can get better grades. If they do pick a harder class and are successful, they're going to dismiss it as luck in order to avoid placing further expectations on them. These are attitudes that many keep for later in life, and as they climb up the ladder of success, they avoid to take risks, and after the first mistake, they start to not trust themselves even when they are successful. This leads to many missing important opportunities, as they do not believe that they can be successful in anything that they do. So, we have identified the problem and analyzed the causes. The next step is to find a solution. Unfortunately, this is always the hardest part, as the only solution is really to learn to control it yourself. People with imposter syndrome are masters of self-criticism, and they struggle with negative feedback. They need to learn to own their success and understand where it comes from, and they need to learn how to make mistakes. But that's easier said than done. One way to do it is to just put yourself out there. Take on an activity you've never done before, something you know you won't necessarily be good at, in order to understand that, yes, you will make mistakes. Or try to teach someone a skill that you have, in order to see that you are good at something and you're not just lucky or a fake. In the end, what matters is that every time you feel like you don't know what you're doing, just remember that no one really knows what they're doing. We're all winging it, so yes, in a way, we are all fakes. So next time you feel overwhelmed by imposter syndrome, just take a deep breath and think about how much you work to get to where you are. For most of us, it's not something that we got without deserving it. Your success is yours. Don't let your overthinking mind take it away from you. Me? I joined many activities since I came to this school, and I ended up leading some. I've had a mixture of success and failure, and I've come to understand that it's normal. And although I still use the occasional "I'm just good at pretending" phrase, I try to stop myself. Why should I say it? I worked hard to get here, and I'm working hard to stay here. Did that sound like I was bragging? I don't really work that hard. I mean, there are so many other people who work harder than I do and know so much more than I do. I bet that if we ask everyone, they all know much more than I do, and I just... Damn it! Okay, so I'm still struggling with it, just like many people. I still undermine my success, but it's a process. Does it make me an imposter that I'm here giving you advice about how to get rid of imposter syndrome when it hasn't completely worked for me? Maybe, but I'll let you in on a secret. Right now, I feel less like an imposter than when I'm in a situation when I'm actually supposed to know what I'm doing. Why? Because I'm taking fate into my own hands. I took a risk, and I escaped the prison that is my mind. I'm aware about how little I knew when I decided to make this talk, and I'm aware of how hard I worked to get here. And no matter what happens, I feel successful. And this time, I won't let my mind take it away from me and give it away. This success is mine. Thank you.